time. What I did is I actually started out as an Arcanist. An Arcanist is a caster that gets pets, and that's their level 1 to 29. Then when they hit 30, they get a class that says, or they get a quest that goes, they actually get 2 quests. Here, I'll show you here. So some of these you can see I haven't leveled up. So like Pugilist, Lancer, Rogue. Rogue you don't actually have access to until you have another class that's 10. Then that becomes available. Samurai, Dark Knight, Astrologian, Machinist, and Red Mage. None of those are available unless you have the expansions and have a character class at level 50. So Samurai and Red Mage are the newest ones. They came with Stormblood. Machinist, Dark Knight, and Astrologian all came with Heavensward. So if you get just a Realm Reborn, you get the option for Gladiator, which turns into Paladin, Marauder, which turns into Warrior, Pugilist, Monk, Lancer, Dragoon, Rogue is at 10, but it's still part of the main game. They're the vanilla game. Arcanist. Arcanist is a little weird because Arcanist actually turns into both Scholar and Summoner. So it's kind of fun. So what I ended up doing was I leveled up to 29, got to 30, and then I had a class quest available. Well, I actually had 2 class quests available. One that turned me into a Scholar and one that turned me into a Summoner. Conjurer turns into White Mage, Archer turns into Bard, and as many times as I've admitted it, there are almost no games where I've ever liked a Bard. I love Bard in this game, especially around like mid-50s, because you get a song that you have enough time on your time and cooldowns on your songs that you can constantly be playing a song, so you give your entire party like 2% crit all the time. I don't need to mend, so we're just going to go into another dungeon here. And that's tanking queue. Now your light parties in this, your dungeons are 4 people instead of 5 like some other games. I played WoW for like 12 years. And then I took a break. Wasn't playing any MMOs, and then had a friend of mine go, "Hey, I played 14. And it's really cool." And I went, "I'll try it." Because I grew up on Final Fantasy games, and to me they were supposed to always be single player. Alright, Tam-Tara Deepcroft. Actually, I like this a lot more than WoW. I played WoW for a really long time, like 10 to 12 years. I only took like a 1.5-year break in the middle because Cataclysm was super boring after the first 6 months, and Star Wars Old Republic was coming out, so I took a break for Star Wars, and then I went back to WoW. I did like it. The thing I didn't like about WoW is, and that I do like about this, is one of the benefits here is that I don't need alts. Like, I have no needs for alts, so basically what I'm ended up doing is I went through the main story quest with one character. I went through the story quest the main story quest with one class. But then, from there on out, there are so many different zones and quests that you can't do the same thing twice. Except for there's certain like dailies that you can do, but you don't really have to. Whoa! What are we pulling? Who's pulling? The other thing I like about this is your professions, both your gathering and your producing professions, are actually extra classes. And you can have all of them on the same character. there's no limit to how many you can have, so you don't have to worry about picking just 2 or 3 or anything like that. You can just decide you want to do everything. It's a fast way to make money. Like I said, I haven't spent a lot of time in the professions. My highest profession is botany, which is that also includes logging. Basically, botany is gathering all kinds of plants and or trees. So it has stuff for weaving, which is your cloth armor. It has stuff for culinarian, which is your cooking. Do you want me to pull more? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I think the healer's trying to tell me to pull more. Okay. You got it. I will pull all the things. There is a recipe book. And the fun part about it is for all of the professions. Actually, I'll show it to you as soon as we're done with this dungeon. But yeah, there's a crafting book for everything. It shows you what exactly you need. Now the crafting in this is not just pick something, hit the button, and watch your character do something like this for 30 seconds. It is actually more like combat. So you actually get like a you get a durability bar, or a durability number that you have to make something in. So essentially you get so many tries to make progress towards something. And that's all your creating professions, like you're producing professions. Weaving, alchemy, goldsmith, blacksmith, armorer. I'm missing a couple in there. Culinarian. Oh, leatherworking and woodworking. Your gathering, on the other hand, your gathering's kind of fun because there is actually something I was talking about the other day. There's also a log for gathering. So if you went, say you leveled up a gathering profession and went, okay, I need to go back and get some of this one thing, but I can't remember where I found it, for some profession. You can actually go back to the log. As long as you picked it at some point, it will tell you where you got it, what part of the zone. Yeah, there's a recipe book. There are things later on, like my highest profession, my gathering is botany, which is 38, and producing is 30. I just hit 30 on Weaver the other day. Yeah, since you can get all of them. You can actually, you don't have to buy anything from the auction house ever. Of course you can, and it makes things faster. But if you really want to, you could be completely self-sufficient in making stuff. Play it casually? Yeah, I don't see why not. For example, I just actually did, I play Overwatch on Tuesdays. Starting this week, this is actually the first day I'm doing 14 on Wednesdays. Usually I was doing it Thursday through Sunday with like shortened streams on Saturdays because every other week we have D&D. Like real life friends have D&D. But I actually also just I just went through God of War in the last like 2 weeks. I couldn't stream it because it's PS4 only and I don't have a capture card. I can only stream things from my PC. Well, reliably stream things from my PC. I did do Secret of Mana remake when it came out, which Matty Pill remembers, but it because of the way my house is set up, it my PS4 is wireless, and PSN does not like you streaming wirelessly. So I learned the hard way that unless I buy a capture card, I should probably not stream from PS4. But yeah, you can always do this casually. It's not something you have to like pick up and grind out all the time. There are also one of the other fun things about this that I like is there's this place, the Golden Saucer. It's the Manderville. Now the Manderville basically has all these other things in it. So, I mean, when it boils down to it, MMOs are basically grind to level classes. You know, through combat. Yeah, like this one has 14 is always known for great stories and great music. Well, Final Fantasy franchise in general is always known for great stories and great music. This game is no exception. But when it comes down to it, MMOs are basically like a level grind. So what they did is there's actually this place in this game, the Gold Saucer, the Manderville, which has mini games in it that have nothing to do with level. They are basically just a fun distraction to do something else for a little bit. So they have Triple Card Triad, which only starts in the Manderville. If you've ever played Final Fantasy VIII, that's where Triple Card Triad comes from. It's different cards in this game, but the game is exactly the same, with the funky rules and the 9-card setup. There is Chocobo Racing. Chocobo Racing, you can either just casually race chocobos and gain some MGP because they don't use you don't use gil at the Manderville, you use MGP or what do they call it? Manderville gold points. So you can casually race chocobos and gain a couple there. I did stream a whole video about Triple Card Triad. It's over on my YouTube channel. There's also an entire day that was chocobo racing. Chocobo racing gets a little more complicated because you can race casually if you really want to. You can breed racing chocobos, get their pedigree up, and the higher their pedigree, the more you can win because you can get into the stronger races. Yeah, like, I know Matty likes Triple Card Triad. It starts in the Manderville. There are a couple of matches that you can do there. And then you can actually go out and throughout the world, there are random NPCs all over the place. That you can just play a game against. Whatever you want. People hang out in their houses. You don't have to go crazy. But it's very easy to, like, pick it up whenever you want and go play other things when you want. I will say, the typically the community in this game is really good. So there are a lot of MMOs where you're just kind of expected to know exactly everything about every dungeon the moment you walk into it. That's not the case with 14. Because 14 flat out tells you when somebody in your party is brand new to a dungeon and has never seen it before. You can tell because they'll get a cutscene and it pops up on their name, viewing cutscene, at the beginning and before the last boss. And after the last boss. And you can skip the cutscene, you don't have to watch it. The only time you have to watch cutscenes is there are a couple of occasions in the main story, which are basically the end of one game and before the new expansion starts, that are kind of long. It's basically like watching a movie. So like there's one at the end of when you do the story quest at 50, the main storyline at 50, and finish that out, there is a cutscene there that goes over like everything that happens before you actually get into Heaven's Ward. It is about an hour long. Oh yeah, absolutely. The story is very coherent without reading anything externally. You're right. WoW, because it's Blizzard. I love Blizzard. Blizzard does all kinds of lore for their games. Even Overwatch is a first-person shooter. There is so much about their characters. WoW's the same way. There's so much about these characters, especially if you've only played WoW and never played any of the Warcraft games or anything like that. What's going on is really confusing unless you read every single quest. In this case, though, probably, I would say, half of the main story quests are voice acted. Like anything that's important to the main story is probably going to be voice acted, so you don't even have to read it. You just listen to it. But everything makes sense. It follows a particular line of the story. You don't have to know anything going into the game. You don't have to know what's going on in the world. You don't really have to know anything. In fact, there is extra lore that you can learn, but you don't really have to, about like the religions and deities and stuff, which will come up which comes up whenever you're making a character. Basically, what it does is it gives you like resist to certain elements. It doesn't matter anymore. So when you're making a character now, there are two things that are not important. One is your time of birth, or date of birth, or whatever it is, and the other one is your choice of patron deity or whatever. But yeah, you're right. Unless you've played some of the other Blizzard games, WoW can be very hard to follow with what's going on. Especially now, because they're in what, like expansion 7? Whatever Legion is, and then whatever the new one is coming out. I can't remember. My buddy keeps talking about it, and I stopped paying attention. That would be Sprawley, Matty Phil. Sprawley talks about it because he's still playing WoW. And good for him, he likes WoW. I don't want to play it anymore. I got bored because it was so many expansions so fast, and I just kind of felt like, I don't know, their story just seemed to be getting super convoluted. Which, I mean, you know, that can happen after 13 years of a game surviving. That just doesn't happen anymore. Okay, grab all the aggro. Oh yeah, can't get out of that. Another round? 30 DPS to it. You don't limit break. He's invulnerable. Yeah, so you don't have to read any story that's going on outside of this game. This is its own entire Final Fantasy universe. So it doesn't require you to know anything. You're told everything you need to know. There's a neat main story. The class stories, because your class quests actually follow a storyline. Those are kind of neat. And they all kind of follow a theme. So, for example, the Paladins, which I'm doing right now, up to this point, there was the Gladiator story. And then they send you off because the Paladins, which are part of the Sultan's Sworn, which are a group of soldiers in Ul'dah, which is not where we are. We're in Limsa Lomonsa. Speaking of which, I should go to Ul'dah, though. Actually, before